J.K. Rowling has given us a new glimpse into the Harry Potter world with fantastic beasts and where to find them. But does it hold a candle to the Harry Potter series? Let's find out. Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them stars Eddie Redmayne, Ezra Miller, Colin Farrell, and is directed by David Yates. What's up, guys? So this is my first, review in the Harry Potter world. I haven't reviewed any of the Harry Potter movies yet, so someday I'd love to do that because I do love the Harry Potter series. As a matter of fact, my kids actually grew up with Harry Potter. They are roughly around the same age as Harry Potter was as he was growing up. But let's talk about this new movie, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. So in Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, Eddie Redmayne, he plays Newt, and he is on an adventure in the United States. He comes to New York, and he has this suitcase, and while he's there, all these magical creatures that he houses in these suitcases, they get loose. And so really, most of this movie is him trying to recapture all these magical beasts. But earlier in the movie, he meets up with Jacob Kowalski, who is a nomad, a human, not a person that is a wizard. And Jacob is trying to open up his own bakery, and the two of them, their briefcases get mixed up. And so Jacob gets mixed up in this war between nomads and wizards. Now, this movie takes place 70 years before the Harry Potter series that we know and love. And in this time frame, there is a bitter feud going on between the wizards and the regular human folk. And so the Magic of Congress, which is really the head wizards of New York, they're trying to keep the wizards in hiding from the nomads. They figure if they suppress the wizards, then they will keep this war from erupting. Now guys, up until the rating, we're gonna do non-spoiler stuff, but then after the rating, I'm gonna talk a few spoilers because there's a lot of spoiler talk in this movie that I can discuss. But you are fine up until the rating. Now first off, let's talk about what I liked about Fantastic Beasts. I like that this has a lot of the DNA of Harry Potter, but it's really its own world. It introduces some new aspects. Really, it can be exhausting. There is a lot going on in this movie, and there's a lot that I can talk about more in the spoiler section, but I can still talk about a few things in this section. But the first thing I really dig is the Jacob Kowalski character, and this is a human, and they throw him in the wizard world. And he's right smack dab in the middle of it. This is not something that we saw too often in the Harry Potter world. And so he's kind of like us. We get to see what it would be like for a human to have to deal with wizards and all their powers and how dangerous that can really be. Also, it's no surprise that Eddie Redmayne is a fantastic actor. He does an amazing job in this movie. And it seems like from role to role, he not only transforms his acting approach, but also his physical appearance. But not only Eddie Redmayne, all the acting in this movie is top-notch, just superb. Now, perhaps the biggest thing that I really loved about this movie is, I guess, the darker characters, especially Colin Farrell and Ezra Miller, and this whole Obscurus plot element to the movie. Now, Obscurus is really a dark entity, a force of magic that is causing havoc throughout New York in the beginning of the movie. And really, the Obscurus is kind of the mystery of the movie. But the Obscurus has to have a host, and it tends to feed off wizards where their magic is suppressed. And Director Graves, played by Colin Farrell, he becomes obsessed with finding out the source, the host of the Obscurus. And he uses Credence Barebones, played by Ezra Miller, to find out what this source is. Now, if I had to mention any cons for this movie, I would say the first half of the hour is the most kid-friendly, I guess you could say. And sometimes kid-friendly movies don't particularly appeal to adults. But the second half of this movie is where it gets darker and it becomes a lot more interesting. But overall, guys, I would definitely give Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them a purchase worthy. There are a bevy of things in this movie that I found completely interesting and also ambiguous, and it does leave you thirsty for the next movie. I'm really interested in this series and where it's gonna go. Okay, that's it for the spoiler-free talk. Now let's talk some spoilers. So if you haven't seen this movie, I would suggest you get out of here from this point on. Now, if you've seen this movie, obviously the thing I wanna talk about is Johnny Depp, who plays Grindelwald. And Grindelwald is the big question mark. But we find out that Director Graves eventually is Grindelwald in disguise, which reminded me of Voldemort in the first Harry Potter and how he would take the form of somebody else. So this is another element from the original Harry Potter series that finds its way into this series. But also we find out that Credence Barebones is actually the host for the Obscurus. And I gotta say, that battle at the end with Credence and Newt was really awesome. And when Director Graves is revealed as Grindelwald and you see that it's Johnny Depp, that was just such a WTF moment. Like, wow, Johnny Depp is in this? I'm glad I didn't know that going in, because that made it that much more enjoyable. And also, if you dig a little deeper, you'll find out that there are some connections between Grindelwald and Dumbledore. They were actually friends about 30 years before this movie in 1899. And when Dumbledore's sister died, that friendship was severed. So guys, that's it for my spoiler talk. What are your thoughts on Fantastic Beasts and where to find them? Looking forward to hearing them. Also, make sure you join the Killer Flicks Facebook group where we talk horror all day, every day. Like, subscribe, comment, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd, and Drumdum out.